Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Jim Hodson here at the Fun With Aviation Museum, home to the most touchable warbirds in Texas. Glad that you are joining us today for our special presentation here on North Texas Giving Day. And today's subject is going to be our Harrier Hornet Challenge. And we'll give you an idea what that's going to be here in just a second. But first, I'm going to turn this around. You don't need to see me. We've been working on this TA4 for a while, as many of you are aware. Almost completed with this one. As you can see, the base paint looks really good. We think it just looks really sharp in the orange and white. And so that airplane is almost done. And as we do a pan here without making anybody sick, we're going to get around to our F4C. The Air Force F4C. I'm going to back up a little bit so that you can see the entire airplane. We're getting very close to putting primer on this one. In fact, this coming weekend on Saturday, we're planning to put the primer coat on this airplane. So as you can see, it's all of the different panels have been sealed, and we've touched up and worked on corrosion, and the canopy's now being protected in the nose. And so we're going to continue to work on this one, but base coat's going to go on this one this weekend. In fact, if any of you would like to come out and help do that, no experience or talents are necessary, but we've got a lot to do to continue to tape up and get it ready. But we're going to shoot primer on it. And here's the other one that you've all been familiar with, is the YF-16. Really coming along nicely, and we're making preparations to move it up to Justin, to the Cowtown Warbird, Cowtown Aerocrafters, who are going to be doing the painting up there with Lanny Parcell and his crew. So soon we're going to have spaces open on the ramp here to do work on airplanes, and we've got two that we are putting up as part of our challenge on North Texas Giving Day, to raise some funds to be able to do a preservation repaint on a couple of our airplanes. And as we're going to walk over to our Blue Angel FA-18 and show you that one. Of course, we've got our CH-53 and our F-14 are here. And as we walk along the row, you're going to see some of the other ones, the F-111. In addition to our Harrier Hornet Challenge, as we're calling it, we are also asking for support for a program that we call Blue Skies, and it's a program designed to be able to bring some of the at-risk youth of the local area out here, help inspire them to get some direction in their life with aviation, and help put them on a path towards potentially careers in aviation or aerospace. And that is another goal today, is to raise funds for that. Now, we're coming up on our FA-18, our Blue Angel number 3. This airplane is on loan to us through the National Naval Aviation Museum in Pensacola, Florida. And up until this year, the airplane looked pretty good in terms of the paint surface on the airplane. But if any of you are from here in Texas, you know we had a really tough summer this year in terms of heat. Very high heat, and what it has done to the airplane, you can see right here on some of it. This is not problems with the paint. This is problems with the clear coat. The Blue Angels do a clear coat on their airplanes, and the clear coat, if I can show you here a little bit, is coming off because of the heat from this summer. And we need to be able to do something about that, because it gives the whole appearance of the airplane kind of a worn hanger rash appearance. Now, this airplane is a well-traveled airplane. Up until this year, when the Blue Angels replaced these FA-18s with the Super Hornets, most of the airplanes that the Blue Angels flew had long careers. This airplane was in Desert Storm, Desert Shield, Bosnia Herzegovina, in Europe, and also in Afghanistan. So this airplane has been well traveled, many campaigns and a lot of combat hours, and we are delighted to have it here. But what we started to notice late this summer is we're starting to get a lot of this rash. So this is one of the airplanes that we would like to take next up onto that ramp area where we just were, and be able to resurface the airplane or do whatever we're going to need to do to mitigate this. Okay, there we go. We had a little interruption. Sometimes we get between the router and an airplane between us and the router, and we lose the connection. So that's a little bit of what's going on with this airplane, and we're seeing some of that, the brutal sun from this summer affecting a lot of the parts of this airplane, including the nose. You can probably see that on the nose of the airplane. So what we have done this year for the North Texas Giving Day with the Harrier Hornet Challenge is both of these airplanes need assistance, and I'm going to go over and show you the Harrier here in just a few minutes. And so any donations that come in today for the Harrier or the Hornet, you can mark that if you make a donation of any size, and you can mark what you designate it for, and you can say it's for the Harrier or for the Hornet, and whichever airplane generates the most support, all of those funds will go towards the airplane that will be the next airplane up on the ramp, whether it be the Harrier here or the Hornet. So we're going to walk over and show you the Harrier, which has its own issues, and we'll just walk the line here a little bit. Here's our A4 Charlie, and next to that is our A7B. Now this one was built right here in Fort Worth, and that's why that one is special to us here. Next to that is our F105, and you'll probably notice it on the tail. It's TH because that's part of the squadron that was here who flew 105s before they had probably before the F4s, I think. I'm not sure but before the F4s, and then obviously before the F-16s. Next to that is the first actual airplane that we collected here, and this is a QF4S. And some of you that have been following us know what Gary has been doing out here. Gary Goff has done these examples of sidewinders. He's got a new display out here. These sidewinders, although they look identical to the real thing, have been manufactured here by Gary Goff, and this airplane has had a recent anniversary of the actual shoot down that took place in Southeast Asia with VMFA 333 off of the USS America. Now this airplane, and that was with Bear Lassiter and Little Johns Cummings, this airplane was on board the America at the time, but it was not involved in that engagement. And Gary has gone ahead and put two more of our replica sidewinders on the airplane. It makes a great new exhibit for people to come out and see how they actually looked on the airplane. So we're going to walk over here and show you the Harrier now. Here's our OV-10, the Air Force one. That's dedicated to Captain Steve Bennett, who was awarded the Medal of Honor for his giving his life so that another would live after being shot down by a SAM. This is our, whoops, there we go. This is our AV-8A Harrier. Actually, this one is one of the first four that were called full-scale development airplanes. The Marine Corps received 4 of these. This is one of those 4 that joined the Marine Corps initially. There are only 2 of these remaining, this one and one other that's in a museum on the West Coast. But this airplane was at the Flying Leatherneck Museum for a number of years, where it was painted about 12 years ago. So as you can see, the finish is dulled somewhat. But our biggest problem is that this airplane spent so much time on the West Coast and the salt sea air that you can see on top of the wing, we've got some black patches We have found a lot of areas of corrosion on this airplane that need to be attended to, and while we are doing that, we will refurbish the airplane in a new coat of paint. But you can see we're coming off here. It's just kind of coming up, and then you can see some bubbling underneath, which is corrosion that has to be mitigated or it only gets worse. It doesn't get better. Right now we've using the strap to keep the speed brake up, but we've noted a number of these things, and you may see some of these markings on the airplane. That's one of our volunteers that does the detail work, is measuring all of the markings on the airplane so that get the same markings back on the airplane after we do our refurbishment work to it. But this airplane flew with 513 and also 231, both of the Marine Corps squadrons that had Harriers. Again, this is an A model, and it's one of the oldest ones. It was one of the first 4 that were built by the British. It did carrier qualifications on the Hermes, and again, you can see the black markings that we've got here on the wing to indicate areas of corrosion that we need to mitigate that. Otherwise, again, it just gets worse. And this is about a 12-year-old paint job, which is really a long time for a paint job, and it's held up very well. But if we're going to mitigate and take care of all of the corrosion, then we might as well go ahead and take care of the airplane and do the whole paint job. This airplane cost us quite a bit to get here, just from a transportation standpoint. And so we don't have a good maintenance fund built up on this one or on the Blue Angel to be able to just have funds on hand to be able to support the refurbishing. So if you'd like to help us with the Harrier Hornet Challenge, this is a QR code, and I'm going to just hold on this for a second, so any of you might want to take a screenshot or be able to scan this. We would be very much appreciative of any amount that you might be able to provide us to help with this Harrier Hornet Challenge. Our goal is to raise $10,000, which is about what it costs us in terms of material to be able to refurbish one of these airplanes. And you can see right here, here's another bit of corrosion. Right here you can see where the surface is bubbling. That's all corrosion underneath, so that all needs to be sanded down and mitigated so that we don't get more problems with that. So you don't have to be from Texas to help us with North Texas Giving Day. Anybody, anywhere, you can go to this site and make your donation there. And we have some matching funds available on some of this stuff, so your dollars could be matched dollar for dollar on that. And here's some more of that corrosion. In terms of the 2 airplanes, this one may be the hardest challenge other than the Blue Angel. But whichever one we receive the most funds for today, we'll go ahead and put that airplane up next. So pick your favorite, whichever one. And if you didn't get that QR code, you can just go to North Texas Giving Day online and then search for the Fort Worth Aviation Museum. It'll take you to our site. And like we said, any amount will be greatly appreciated. And at least for a while, some of it will be doubled through the challenge grants that we have out there. So once again, we'd like to thank you for supporting us in the past, and hope to see your continued support, and hope to have you out here. We're open today, but it's now a school day. So some Thursdays we have a lot of visitors, on other Thursdays we don't. But we are open 3 days a week now, which is an improvement. We're open on Thursdays from 9 until 1. We're open on Saturdays from 9 until 2. And we are open on Sundays from 11 to 3. Again, I'm Jim Hodson with the Fort Worth Aviation Museum, home of the most touchable warbirds in Texas. We've got some other activities going on here over the next few months. We've got our Halloween party next month in October, We have in November, we've got the Veterans Day Parade, and we have a new program called Pups and Props. We're going to bring in some dogs for adoption, and so that activity is going to go on. And of course, we have our Hops and Props in the spring, and so I hope you come out to visit us. The sun is too bright for me to see any of the questions, but I will pick that up when I go when I get back inside and I can see them. But for now, from the Fort Worth Aviation Museum, home of the most touchable warbirds in Texas, thanks for joining me today, and we'll be back again soon with updates on the other airplanes. Thanks.